All right, so it's been a while. I posted my video with Ziggyno, and this is a clip from that. And I'll be posting clips for the next few days. And then I have a special treat with reserve investments that I'll be posting the clips and then eventually the full video. So enjoy.
I guess a few other things. I guess when it comes to, are you planning to buy individual players again in certain sports, or like how are you planning to do
Yeah,
that whole thing as far as
it's
collecting or investing or flipping or
sure.
whatever?
It's funny. I've thought about it. I have really have. It's just not my game, man. I've done it. I did it on Star Stock back years ago, made some money off it. I will really prefer, again, going after breaks and going after products. So for me, I'm looking forward to the football draft. I think we're going to have a lot of good quarterbacks in this draft, probably 4 or 5 quarterbacks. This last class, though, I'm not very excited about, right? So when it comes to breaks with this football class, I'll probably get in some prison breaks, and I will actually go after the Steelers. Like I'll pay the money to get the Steelers because it's the only team that, in my opinion, has value. That I'll go after contenders in football, but I'll be positioning for next year. Now in basketball, I will go after basketball. I think the rookie class coming in will be good, and I'm also excited about next year when the Wamabuya dude or whatever comes out. So I'm looking at those coming classes. And again, I'll say this, I've done this forever. I'm looking as soon as it comes out and I get it, I sell it relatively quickly. Not
Mm-hmm.
immediately, but I'm going to grade it or sell it. I'm not holding on to stuff for years. I did do some prospecting in baseball where when I open baseball product or baseball rookies, I'll keep prospects and Bowman ones. So right now is a great time to look for that because you have the spring league and stuff like that. So those are where I've been making my plays, right? Going after. I still love the rookie prospecting world. It really is. I love the risk gambling side of the hobby. I don't recommend it
Mm-hmm.
because you have to know what you're doing. You have to know what products you go after. You have to know the checklists. You have to be disciplined. But that's what I like doing.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, those are interesting. I one thing that I'm worried about Fanatics is those are the type of the gambling aspect or the type of people they're trying to focus most on. But also it seems like they kind of care about kids too. So like I will
I,
be kind of.
see, I don't agree they do. I mean, it's not that I think they do or don't care, but they do care about this gambling part. And in fact, one thing that I think there's a story going around with TikTok, quote, banning breaking, which they did not ban breaking. They made a
Mhm.
statement about really mystery packs is what they were banning. Um, but sports cards are gambling. Like I was talking to somebody last night, and I talked about years ago before the boom, my kids and some other friends of mine, we got our kids into free breaks.
Mhm.
We give them cards and they get teams and they get the mail days and they did videos in the mail days. The kids weren't paying out of their allowance or anything. The parents were covering costs or whatever. But we got them into cards, we got them into stuff. And somebody said, well, let's get them into gambling. I'm like, well, if they're into cards, it's gambling. Like, don't be
Yeah.
naive. What I'm hoping is Fanatics will see the responsibility of that. Like, here's an example. Some guy was talking the other night about being a breaker, and there's so many of these guys who are breakers, and he talked about how he cut a guy off because he was buying too much product from him. And I'm like, that's right. You do have to cut people off because this product is a lot like a controlled substance.
Mhm.
It really is like alcohol or tobacco or marijuana in the sense that people get an addiction to it. They want more. And if there is no regulation, this is somebody you can decide this, whether it's a buyer beware, fine, the guy wants to spend all his money and get drunk and be a city bum, that's fine. But if there's nobody watching that, it's going to be exploited. And so I think Fanatics needs to self-regulate breaking and even card distribution. So if you're going to buy from Fanatics at a better price, you're going to have to meet some requirements, right? Like we don't sell sports card breaks at 1 a.m. I know that sounds crazy. Let's be
Mhm.
honest, man. When you're on a break at 1 a.m., you probably should not be in the break at 1 a.m. Okay. It's just like when you're the strip club at 1 a.m., you probably should not be the strip club at 1 a.m. you know? But it's those things that I hope Fanatics will put some safeguards in place because breaking it's also the lifeblood of the hobby. I don't like the fact that everybody blames breakers for all the problems in the hobby. I will say this: the problem with breaking is that anybody can break. But
True.
if you it's kind of like anybody can make beer, right? But shit, there's some people make really good beer. So if you're getting it from the right person, it's a really it gives a job for people. It gives livelihoods to people. People enjoy it. It can be done responsibly. So it'll be interesting to see. And I think Fanatics definitely will press the button on gambling with sports cards, right? Like I think they're doing more cross promotions. like someone talked about, they're doing a follow back, right? Where you get somebody to follow you back in Instagram. Well, I
Mhm.
can see them doing player experiences. Come on, people are gonna be paying for those player experiences, so they'll chase that. Now, what I'm curious about is if you have something like a player experience, reporting that out, so people will know that someone already pulled the golden ticket to get you the player experience. So it's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, yeah, that it yeah, I guess there's always this anticipation, and then people what I've noticed is a lot of people speculate a lot about certain things, and then a lot of times people are wrong. One of the examples we talked about in the past is we mentioned earlier was like Topps buying Panini. This hasn't happened yet, and people were so sure this was gonna happen. Um, and it's quite it's been a lot of stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Well, you
Um,
you make you made the comment on speculation. That's why someone said a long time ago, you can't get broke taking a profit.
True.
So one of the things about sports cards that I've said forever, if you're going to be in the investment, when you buy a sports card, you should know at the time you buy it what you are selling it at. It should never be, I'm buying the player, I'm going to watch how he performs. That's stupid, right? You should buy the player or buy the car and go, if it's an investment, I'm buying it $100. If it hits 125, I'm going to sell it because I'm excited about 25% return. If you're buying it because you think it's going to $200, great. But then when it hits $200, sell it. At the same time, if it hits 75 or 50, get the hell out, dude. You can't sit there going, well, I know it's going to go to 200 someday. No, maybe you're wrong. And
so
people do get caught in that.
So yeah. I think that's what happens when a bubble happens a lot of time. I'm because part of some of my research is like some neuroeconomic stuff. I'm actually working on a
Yep.
neuroeconomics project that I'm forming. It seems like when bubbles occur, because it's like one of these things, a practical example would be I don't remember who, but somebody bought a Luca base for I believe $100 PSA 10, and it went to $200, and they sold it and they made money. It's like, oh, you double your money. Like you can't really get that in any kind of investment. And then it went to $500, and it's like, dang, I could. And then it goes to $2,000, and then you're already in your head. It's like, man, I could have made so much more money. And I think when you have these crazy swings, when stuff literally like the LeBron James card goes from 1,000 to 46,000, and that's the only ones that we know that were recorded on the internet.
Yep.
I mean, there
Yep.
are people probably well overpaid even more than
Yep.
that, and around that range, around 30,000, something like that. Now it's around 7. I still think that's too much, but like, you start having these crazy games. My favorite one is the soccer for Messi and Ronaldo. They're both of their rookie cards. They're around $4,000 or $5,000, and then they went up to 200,000. And then the weird thing is because I don't think people, their brain like can process exponential changes. I think we think more linearly.
Yep.
So things go all the way to $200,000, and then people are still like, hey, it's still very cheap. And then there's some people who actually believe this. Now, some people are using this as kind of a marketing ploy because they're trying to make even more money. But it's just one of those things where I think it's just hard. Like people have to like find a way to take a step back or have a negative experience of this happening to them before,
Yep.
for them to be like, okay, wait a minute, this is not gonna last. It's great now, but it's not gonna last, and it's probably the bubble is gonna be deflated sooner than I expect, and I need to prepare for it.
Yeah. Like you say, experience is something that when you see an opportunity, you go, oh, I could have made more money. You think you lost an opportunity and you focus on that. What you should look at is that you had an opportunity. And then look as you move forward, how many more opportunities can I make that put me in the same place like that again? Don't kill yourself for what could have happened, right? Think about, well, I had an opportunity. How do I make 4 more opportunities like that? Because and I think that comes with time. It's something you have to kind of wrap your mind around after time. Because I've sold a lot of cards that have gone down or gone up, but I don't sit there dreading. I just know that I sold the card, I made the money I wanted to, and I moved on. You know what I'm saying? I'd rather do that than play the what if game forever.
Most cars that I've sold, me thinking back, I don't think there's any car I was like, man, I just wish I would have held on to it longer.
Well, I won't say wish, but I will tell you this, man. I did sell a lot of Patrick Mahomes cards, and
Oh,
I did have one of the NT RPAs to 99. That is now what, a couple $100,000 card. And I remember getting it in the break. In fact, I remember the breaker. Her name is Crystal. It was a one box break, 2017 NT, and I was chasing Kareem Hunt. And I get this, Patrick Mahomes NT RPA to 99. And I think I was in the break for either, I it was under $100. I'll tell you that, because when I got it and hit it, I sent the woman a $40 tip. Okay, so I sent her extra $40 to say, thanks for everything. And it wasn't a lot of money, like a tip. But at the
hmm.
time, I was like, hey, I got this great card, and I sold the card for $1,000. So I think I put $100 in the break. I sold the card for $1,000 at the time, and I was very happy because at the time, I'm like, who the hell is Patrick Mahomes? I just got an RPA. I'm looking for the next break. And then fast forward, in fact, I'll even tell you this: the next year, I remember selling his silver prisms because I had 2 cases of 2017 prism, and we had at least 10 of his silver prisms. I remember selling those off between 25, 50, and I think the last ones I sold were $100 a piece.
Oh,
And I'm
wow.
thinking to myself, who's paying this much money for a base card of a, no autograph card? It's just that's, I don't regret that, but I do look back on, man, wow. But there are a lot of people like that. The same thing.
Yeah, I would say for like Patrick Mahomes, it's interesting because a lot of people who know sports know that like a lot of these players kind of go ups and down, have ups and downs in their careers. So a lot of people got off the Patrick Mahomes bandwagon after what, 3 seasons? Basically before this past
Yeah.
season, where he won a MVP and a Super Bowl or
Yeah.
whatever.
Well, they've always had support. I'd say the first year though, he wasn't on anybody's radar, man. That
Yeah.
first year, 2017, if everybody remembers, he was not playing. Not only was he not playing, Deshaun Watson was playing.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
And Deshaun Watson was lighting it up as a rookie. So all the attention was on Deshaun Watson, man, that year. And it wasn't even on Trubisky, who was sucking, right? But Patrick Mahomes was just not even a thought. It was all Deshaun Watson, how great Deshaun Watson's going to be. Because I remember, too, I was in breaks where I got Deshaun Watson cards, and I remember selling those things off. Patrick Mahomes was also he was short print on his autographs. He didn't
Hmm.
sign a lot of cards in contenders. Like I also remember, I know the breaker who pulled his Optic Contenders Superfractor 101 in a break. And in the Facebook community, that was a big deal because it was a Facebook breaker. And I want to say the guy was in the break for, I don't know, very cheap break. And I think he ended up reselling it for thousands. And I could be wrong. I don't want to say the wrong thing, but I remember that card going up, and I still know that watching that break take place where that card was pulled. That was pretty cool. And the guy drove. I remember driving to pick it up too, hearing about that. I would as well, man. So listen, I got to let you run, man. I got to get off at 9, and I'm running a little late already. I got people calling me, so I got to
All
wrap up
right.
if you don't mind.
All right. Yeah. Perfect. I'm glad you were able to come on this time.
I really am happy. I'm sorry we didn't get, do this sooner. And I'd love to do this again too. So, you know, let me know when, maybe next week or something else. We'll get back together and love to chat more, man. I
All right.
appreciate it.
Perfect.
And
All
I'm
right.
sorry to catch up. My phone keeps blowing up and I'm now 12 minutes late.
Okay. No, it works out. All right. Yeah. Thanks. Appreciate it.
Thank
See you
you.
later.
I'll have a great time, man.
All right.